This is going to be the actual... Okay, sorry. Mute this room. This is going to be the real review of Honkai Starbucks 3.0 story. Coming from probably the rank 1 Honkai Starbucks Glazer. Basically the EN side of things, right? I just finished the whole thing across roughly 3 streams. From the very first Amphoreus when we like crash landed into whatever, all the way up through to the little books. So if you go over here, you're gonna unlock the book. All right, we finished all this book. This took us, I honestly have no idea how long this story actually took us. I would say 10 hours does sound about right, considering that we do spend around 3 hours-ish every single stream, and it has been happening for 3 streams. So this is a really beefy story. Also, I just realized this is actually not too good to kind of give like a no spoiler review, because then on my YouTube side of things, it gets a little bit hard to justify my points, right? So I think going forward from now on, from my YouTube videos, I'm just gonna straight up give my thoughts for everything that has been happening during that story patch, which I think is better because it can substantiate my POV on why I think this is the case. And doing it in like a no spoiler way, I think it's kind of difficult, because then you'll be like, what the fuck is he even talking about, right? So I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do on Twitter? From now onwards, I'm not even gonna give my any rating. I'm not gonna substantiate. I'm not gonna elaborate. I'm not gonna give like 100 word essay. I'm just gonna say this. Overall, boom, question out of 10. And I just click post. Done. I don't give a fuck. And then when the video goes up, feel free to check out on me. I'm not even gonna say nothing. I'll just drop this, start war, leave. Done, right? It's just gonna be that easy. That's what I'm gonna be doing going forward, because it really is pointless for me to do a spoiler-free review on the goddamn YouTube video where I need to literally explain the story, right? So, yep, I am just gonna do this. Figure out yourselves from now onwards. I think this is how we're gonna roll now. Okay, anyways, as I was saying, yo, Mimi, go away. Go away. Stop looking at me. Go away. Shoo, 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 close, shoo. Spoilers for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes. So if you don't want any spoilers, highly recommend to go ahead and try to play the story yourselves, or read some other content creators who can give a spoiler-free review. And here I go. I'll give my final rating all the way at the end, but I just kind of want to share my experience of the Honkai Starbucks 3.0 story. And the very first thing I gotta say is, I do not think this story is meant to be played in one sitting. It is far too long to play this entire thing in a single sitting. And I think that if you do that, unless you are like a streamer with like a sub goal, or doing a subathon, or like someone pays to do it, do not do this. Because I think if you did that in one sitting, you will probably have a very different experience compared to at least what I've enjoyed, or rather what I have experienced. So I did this in 3 separate days, and it's not even like 3 consecutive back-to-back days. It's like one day I did it, and then we played Art Nights, and then I did it, and then now we are like kind of back there. I always gave myself ample break in between Amphoreus. With that being established, I think Amphoreus was a... If I want to compare with previous Honkai Starbucks arcs, I enjoyed 3.0 more than 2.0. And 2.0 was my favorite arc of Honkai Starbucks, or rather Penacony. So yes, I personally feel that Amphoreus is the best patch from Honkai Starbucks. Alright, War comments. He's a fucking shell. He's sucking Dawi's dick right now. Shell, die, kill yourself. Ingame, you're a fucking... I'll let it go. I take a sip of water. I don't mean this as like the entirety of Penacony, because I want to take a look at the entirety of version 3, right? But just from a first chapter to first chapter comparison, I'm not going to compare with any other games. Just between the first chapter to first chapter comparison, I think 3.0 set a pretty good and strong, solid foundation with regards to the journey that we are about to experience. So from what I've gathered is, this 12 core flames and the flame chasers, the God Slayer project, and we have to slay the titans. I think this is gonna be a much bigger plot compared to Penacony. In fact, I think it's a much bigger plot compared to pretty much any of the Honkai Starbucks storyverse combined. Because the, Shao Ji, the guy that's writing this, he did literally say that this entire version 3 is going to last for like the entire year, right? Which is going to be longer than everything that we've experienced so far. Which also means there's going to be quite a lot to take in. There's going to be a hell of a lot to take in. So I think that with that context, I like the fact that in version 3, they are kind of using this to lay out the groundworks, right? Introduce the initial cast of the Amphoreus people, namely Aglaea, Tribbie, Phainon, and Mydei. And a little bit unfortunate that Danhei doesn't have VA, as well as just seeing the perspective of how ourselves obtained Mimi, which I believe is going to be a pretty crucial component for the rest of version 3 going forward. Because if you guys have seen the story towards the end, at the legit very, very last end, I think Mimi's ENVA is the exact same ENVA as one of the girl from Phainon's lore, Phainon's backstory, before he lost everything. So I think Mimi would be an extremely, extremely crucial part in the entire story. But I digress. So let's just get into what I think about this 3.0. I'm gonna go in the pros, the cons, my experience, what can they improve on, and what I kind of want to expect going forward. Something like this, don't really have a rough structure yet. I'm not gonna be explaining the entirety of 3.0's plot, play yourselves, but the way I see it, the very first Titan, aka Nikador, aka Titan of Strife, this is gonna begin the journey of the Titan Slayer or God Slayer project, where all of these flame chasers to obtain the Titan's core flame is gonna keep continuing, and that would be like the overarching plot for I think how version 3 is gonna be like. So the very, very first Titan being conquered, gave it to Phainon, even though bro basically stole the kill from me, right? I did all the hard work, Mydei did all the hard work, and then Phainon was like, nope, I'm just cast my Garen out and steal the kill right there, and then bro, blood just took it. So it is what it is. Luckily for us, Mydei didn't really give a shit, so he's like, yeah, bro, just have it, and like, oh, then I feel so bad, I really think Mydei deserves it, I feel so bad, and then bro just took it anyways, so fuck you. Aside from that, we're also introduced to, at least in the earlier portions, mainly it was Phainon, Aglaea, as well as Tribbie, right? Those are like the first few couple of characters. And I think there's been, I kind of want to talk about Aglaea a little bit. I think there was this little thought on whether Aglaea is like a morally grey woman, or like whether is she like actually a good guy or like a bad guy. I think it's really not that deep. And she has always been someone that prioritized the safety of Oklahoma, hell yeah, brother, above the needs of others, right? Which is why she like threatened to kill she was gonna bind on with the strings. She even threatened to kill the guy that fucking did all shit. And I don't think it was really like that morally great to begin with, because who the fuck are we to her? We're legit just two random ass aliens that just dropped into Amphoreus, and like within 24 hours of her forcing us to make a promise, we break that same promise. So like if I was Aglaea, I'm gonna keep it about, I would have not even shown mercy, because towards the end she was like, nah, I'm just kidding, right? It was just a prank. I wouldn't even have like shown mercy. Yep, I was dead ass gonna kill them. And if she had actually done that, I probably would have given her a little bit more respect, because this does in fact show to me that her character is someone that prioritizes her town, her city, her people above everything else, and that's like the direction where she's going. And I think it is pretty fitting, considering that her the whole avatar of the golden threads, speak the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God, whatever. I think it's quite fitting. So I do personally like the direction Aglaea is, and I don't think she needs to be morally grey. She just needs to be someone that is willing to do extreme things in order to protect her town. I do like that. If I want to compare this with, like, for example, Cocolia, right? Now, Cocolia is a bad bitch. Okay, she is definitely a bad bitch, right? Because she was willing to just fuck everything, die, just for the sake of the rebirth of... Yeah, okay, that is like the other extreme. I don't think Aglaea is really that bad, but it's just so that she's willing to do whatever it takes, but not to the point where, like, I'm gonna kill everyone in their moms. So that is kind of like the difference between her and Cocolia. And I do prefer Aglaea's personality, right? So that is Phainon. That is gonna be Aglaea. Tribbie. I think Tribbie, Tasante, Trinon, Tri, whatever. She is probably the character that I am most interested in this entire version 3. Because something about her is so mysterious that they always have 3 of her, and the models only show up like one at a time, except for the one cutscene where they fly around the map to like protect them from the invaders, right? But every single time they only show one, And we were also given a little bit of a sad lore drop towards the end, as well as in the middle of the story. We also give it a little bit of content that Triane is probably not gonna make it. Because between their conversations with Aglaea, they mentioned that Triane's powers remaining in order to, you know, open the gates. I think it's left with, what, 2 or 3 left. And then that's it. They didn't say what would happen to her once she used up all her powers. They didn't say she's gonna die. Maybe she just becomes a chill girl and she just retires. Who knows? But she's approaching the end of like her power cycle. And there's a reason, I think, why the banner for Tribbie only showcased as Tribbie. Because like Topaz and Nambi, it was both of them combined. And we already know distinctively that Tribbie, Triane, and Phainon, they are 3 separate individuals. They are kind of like sharing a common soul, kind of. But the banner is only Tribbie. So I'm gonna see how 3.1 cooks out. But I am extremely interested to see how this character develops, right? She's kind of like this gatekeeper that's like, she's like Uber. Best way to describe them. She's basically the Uber for Amphoreus. It just kind of brings people all over the place, and you know, it just helps us to get to the place where we are instead of using the drone move like the dinosaur, which appear for like 5 seconds and then they're just gone. So I like it. There's some depth. I'll be looking forward to how 3.1 is gonna be coming out. And then the second part of the story is where we are introduced to Mydei, Gnaeus, and Castorice, right? These 3 were kind of like okay, Mydei's role was not that important. Like bro just appeared for a little bit. He was like kind of like the rival with Phainon a little bit. But Castorice and Gnaeus, these 2 were kind of like the important characters in the second half, right? And I don't know why, because I just finished watching this anime called Akame ga Kill. Castorice reminds me a lot of Kurome, which is this girl constantly in pain and like she's about to damn near die every time she's trying to like ferry the soul and everything, and then she can't have physical touch because if everybody touches, she's gonna send them to hell or whatever. And it's kind of like quite interesting to see how she's gonna be more prevalent in the future patches. And Gnaeus, that plot twist at the end was nothing short of cinema. For that absolute final boss fight, it was, the music for that fight was insane. I would dare say that music was the best fight music I've seen. It is better than Battlebog, it is better than Wildfire, it is the best fight music, and it doesn't even have a singer.
What? They've returned! Bless me! Perhaps really?
Between this boss fight as well as the Sunday's boss fight, I think Sunday's boss fight still a little bit better for me, especially considering that we did have a much longer build up before we confront Sunday, and I will be willing to see what is gonna be next in like 3.1, 3.2 when we actually build up to the eventual big final boss fight, because this is like the first Titan and the music score is already absolutely diabolical. And I'm so glad that Chad told me to not kill him too fast, because some of his moves are like, holy shit, bro. It's holy shit. Yep, a absolute cinematic masterpiece of that particular boss fight. All right, so towards the later half of the story, everything just kind of converges, and then we reach like the epilogue with the Herta. Me personally, I think the Herta's interaction, it felt a little bit forced. It felt a little bit forced because like bro basically spawned out of nowhere, and she basically, I think her main role was kind of to tell us that Black Sword was like a potential traitor, because apparently after we log out from this trailer right now, I mean you guys can still see Black Swan, but apparently if you log out from the story, she's gonna be gone. I think that was kind of like the Herta's main purpose. She was about to confront or like start a second arc with Gnaeus, which is the droid head. And I felt that it might have been better if they kind of paced it out to like a separate layover, because it really felt that for that very short window, they just wanted to insert Herta into the story, and I felt like it had almost no relevance towards the Amphoreus arc. or like very little relevance, aside from that very, very faint connection that Black Swan knew. Black Swan knew that this was a solo event. I want to kind of just... Do I still have the image? The March 7th skin, Black Swan knew because she said like she'll have a glacially beautiful moment in Amphoreus. So I think this was kind of like the biggest role that Herta have, which is basically telling us that the memo keeper, or like the remembrance, she was a, she's a little bit sassy. Right, she's a little bit sassy. I would have preferred if they kind of just gave Herta like a much longer standalone time, if they just released her in another banner or like in 3.1, and then just focused all in on building up the plot for Amphoreus. But I can also understand why they kind of want to inject a little bit of Herta, so maybe she's gonna be getting more roles in the future. I think the way they're pathing it right now for version 3 is they are merging this arc of Amphoreus. This is probably like 90% of arc, and then 10% with Herta and like news. Something is probably going to be happening towards the Azure Express crew, and then they're all kind of going to converge. And I think this is going to be happening in like 2, 3, or 4 patches down. Probably not the most important. Alright, probably not the most important. I'll let them cook and see what's up. And that would pretty much be like my summary for all of the different characters that I kind of got introduced. So the pros. What did I like about this story? And after the pros, I'll talk about the cons. What did I not like about the story? I think it was good for me that... Oh my god. I'm just envisioning the different creators right now cancelling me. MrPokke is a fucking shield, bro. It's just... Yeah, I'm just envisioning that. I'm like, oh my god, PTSD. I'm gonna die, guys. Okay, I'm gonna get cancelled over 10,000 times, but yep, anyways. I'm kind of glad that I didn't really let any of the external influences affect my initial judgment of Amphoreus, because I believe that by this time of recording, most people that have finished Amphoreus, or at least the loud majority anyways that I've seen, is that Amphoreus there's way too much yap. There's way too much black screens. There's no animation. There's no camera movement. This is the most longest, most boring 3.0 patch ever. It is so bad. And I'ma be real, if I had that mindset going in and I'm like looking out for like all these things, I think I would have probably agreed, because it is true that the dialogue is a lot. It is a lot of dialogue. The camera movements when is nothing compared to probably even like 2.7. I think 2.7's camera movement was honestly really good. There were a lot of black screens, right? So all these things, I'm not saying they're not valid, but I think if I took that into consideration with my initial playthrough, I would have had a more negative experience playing the story. So I'm kind of glad that this didn't happen, and I just kind of went in blind, because I didn't even intentionally store the 3.0 story. My chat continuously just keep begging and begging and begging. Oh my god, play the story, play. But like, I have so many things to do. It's crazy, bro. It's like they released Herta, they released Remembrance MC. We have so many. I still haven't finished the Topaz vs Mark 7 video. There was like Aglaea's end view. There's just so many things to do that I just couldn't finish the goddamn story, right? But now that we have, I'm gonna say one of the things that might not be too good. I really like the puzzles. I don't know why there was so much hate for the puzzles. I don't think any of them was like particularly time consuming. And I think the way they designed it is very unique and it's fine, and it didn't felt too draggy. Zahenda was fun. The little shadow thingy was fun. The little walking thing was fun. Nothing too crazy that made me like, oh my god, enough of this shit, bro. Even the different levels, right? Like people were saying, oh my god, you're gonna get stuck in this for like hours because there's so many goddamn puzzles. Most of the time, it wasn't even the puzzles. It was just like me walking around and trying to find chests, which I did it to myself. I'm intentionally walking around trying to find chests because I played this entire thing on Bob's account, right? My free-to-play account. I have no money, right? It's completely free to play, so every chest matters. So I'm kind of making this even draggier because I'm trying to find it for myself. I feel like if I had even done that, it would have been a lot shorter, and it wasn't even that long to begin with. I like the puzzle. Maybe you feel differently. Maybe the puzzle was too difficult. And I suck ass cheeks at puzzles, right? So compared to like the Penacony puzzles, oh my god. Bro, the stupid Penacony puzzle, you know the one with the claw key? And you have to assemble the little bricks, and then the thing will start walking. Holy shit, that is some fucked up shit, bro. Like, I hated that puzzle. Because maybe it's just me, but like, oh my god, I could not solve that shit. It's so, not all, but like some of it was like super annoying. I think out of all the puzzles so far, the Amphoreus one was probably my favorite. Maybe it's a breath of fresh air, right? It's a brand new thing, but yep, puzzles approved. Next, the VAs. I think this has also been a pretty strong talking point, because if you played in the ENVA, you were missing a lot of stuff. Alright, I was also the guy that posted the missing ENVAs. Shout out to Rue. She's a e-girl ASMR VA. Okay, I don't even, I say this verbatim, right? Because I did do this for my community. So I basically pumped out this, looking for e-girl ASMR ENVA specialized to voice all female dialogue in HSR 3.0. We got quite a bit of applicants, and some of them are yeah, some of them are very interesting, right? So eventually we managed to find Rue. Rue definitely made the experience a lot more enjoyable, especially when she voiced Himeko saying Bob. First time ever that the game actually says the character's name, Bob. She voiced Himeko, she voiced Kafka, she voiced Firefly. Silver Wolf was voiced, but Silver Wolf's voice line was like very small. I think she also voiced Stell. I think that's pretty much it. So I would say that my experience, even though it was lacking VA, it wasn't really ruined, but I had the power of being a streamer. I reached out to my community, and the community reached out back, and I had a pretty fun experience with the whole VA thing. And then me and myself, you know, Dan Heng, the voice lines, there was a lot of missing voice lines for Dan Heng. But then I stepped in as the MrPokke. I stepped in and I saved us from a miserable experience of playing EN as the Bing Dan Heng. Lim Basi E2 fucking one shot. It was great.
Ruuuxs was hit by rising sea levels after the Stellaron disaster.
Next, we have Malustanet, the Agate world.
That's where Idrilla, the beauty ascendant, a world of undying allure. It's also said to be one of the initial sites of the Stellaron disaster. Probably not the safest choice.
Finally!
I think it is definitely a valid concern that a lot of EMVs, I would say probably like 20-ish% of the dialogue was missing. But I did the best I could. I made a more fun little time for myself as well as my chat. It was okay. But this is definitely up to your playing experience. And let's just be real, JP and CN, I think most of you guys, especially weeaboos, probably have played in the first place. So I'll leave that up to you all. Moving on to the next point that I really liked. Amphoreus atmosphere. I don't really call this as like open world or like exploration, because Honkai Star Wars is not really like a open world game anyways, right? It's a turn-based game that nobody really cares about that though. But the atmosphere of Amphoreus was very well made. Probably, not even probably, I think it has my favorite atmosphere. I'm not sure how do you guys really call this. I like the vibe, inclusive of like the background music, you know, the random giantess, you know, soldiers standing there with like dicks in your face because they're so big. The Dromo is walking around. The fact that you can use the handle, you can just fly around and play, you can see the lava. The stars, the little room, which you can see all of the 12 core flames. The way that we have the little switch between the past and the future using the little perfect miracle thingy. The rewind, the little sprites. I think the atmosphere that Amphoreus set, it is my favorite in Honkai Star Wars so far, and it has only been 3.0. In Okama, for the most part, it was in Okama. For a small part, we went to Mydei's desolated homeworld. But between these two roles, it had a very nice atmosphere, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. If I had to compare this, it's kind of hard to compare. How do I really compare this? I don't think I can, man. I don't want to compare to another game because it is fundamentally a different game. But to all of the old Honkai Star Wars, I don't think there's like a way to compare, because they are kind of meant to be, you know, unique in their own ways, right? Penacony is Penacony, Shenzhou, Belobog, they're all kind of unique. But just from the atmosphere alone in Amphoreus so far, aside from the factor of being unique, it was very nice. I thoroughly enjoyed the whole Greek vibes and like the music and the people around the So that's gonna be that. Before we move on to the bad things that I didn't like, I wanna squeeze out one more. I don't know if this will hold, because in Penacony, it was low-key kind of like no consequence or very little consequence because everybody just lives in a dream and it's not that bad. But I like the fact that in Forest, they weren't scared to show, can I even say this? Death, decay, destruction, perish. And I think they were quite liberal with what I've seen. Castorice's entire team is surrounding death. Gnaeus' blood died 1 billion times before he, I mean, technically, okay, I'm not gonna spoil, but like, yep. Mydei, his people, everything was getting forsaken. Phainon lost his entire homeland. Tribbie, I'm not sure if this is confirmed, but I think Tribbie's entire clan got eviscerated and she's like the last 3 members of her kind. I don't know if Aglaea have actually executed people before, but I think I like that they were a little bit more, they have more grit, they were grittier, they were a little bit more real. Unless they undo everything, but like the next couple of patches, like, oh, nope, we discovered this secret hidden title that can revive the day and everybody. Okay, if that happens, then fuck me, right? Because technically in Netherlands, there was also quite a bit of death, but then like, by the power of magic, they came back. Or like in Xenon Zone 0, everybody's gonna die, and then by the power of friendship, everybody survived. We'll see how this goes, but so far, I like the way the plot is about to progress. And this would bring us to the cons. The plot was great, and in the wise words of Ryuku Sensei, story and storytelling, they are 2 different things. Oh boy. Yeah, I feel like by this point, people wouldn't even watch the entire video. They would have already entered their hate comments and dislike the video. So at this point, even if I say it, it changes nothing. People are still going to think I'm a shill. But let's just go in right now. I really don't like to make comparisons, especially with other games. But how are we going to justify fucking Mimi? This is just one example, by the way. A fucking Mimo sprite having the budget to summon a portal when the literal god of portals, the god of Uber Tribbie, the way she summons a portal is with the magical black screen. Like, how are we gonna have that, man? Like, it's ridiculous that Mimi has the budget to summon a door, and I didn't see Tribbie summon the door a single time. That is honestly a little bit ridiculous. And that is just one of the many. We are able to dedicate resources for a story patch, right? Even though this story patch is huge, it's massive, it's 10 hours long worth of story, I think the way they executed it should also be improved so that it is a lot more digestible. All right, I don't really mind that it's 10 hours long, and I don't really mind because I played in like 3 separate playthroughs, so I don't really feel like, oh my god, they're yapping. In fact, I didn't really feel that they were yapping that much because every single time they were talking, they were dropping important lore information, which I believe would tie up into future subsequent patches. But holy fuck, would it kill to get a little bit more animations for the literal main character when we have the budget for Mimi? Bro, I don't know how much budget they dedicated for Mimi, but I feel that Blood had more budget than Aglaea and Tribbie combined. So if we're gonna try and tell this incredible, I think the story is incredible, by the way. I think Amphoreus 3.0 story is really good. They have set a excellent benchmark, especially for players that could, digest everything, not in one shot, but over the course of a couple of days. If you can digest everything, I think Amphoreus story is looking to be one of the best so far. But if we're gonna be dedicating this much, like they're cooking, bro. The writers for Amphoreus, they cooked. They were cooking a goddamn masterclass delicacy, Michelin 3-star shit. I feel like dedicating a little bit more budget would make everything feel so much better. It really would make everything feel so much better. So, for example, right, we had one singular animation of the Dromos when we were riding, and then we just never saw the Dromos for the rest of our lives. The little dinosaur thing. That's it. The bro just completely disappeared. And then for the rest of the story, the way we transport was either with Tribbie, right? Tribbie summons a gate for us, or we kind of just like go back. And all of these little different things is done with a transition black screen. So I feel that a little bit more could be done in that department, right? A little bit more can be done in the department. Second thing, I don't have Acheron, guys. Okay, this is me personally. This is me personally. Bob's account does not have Acheron. This has nothing to do with your experience, but at least from my experience, I feel like if I had Acheron, I would have cleared this shit up like a lot smoother. Cause I legit had to like dodge and weave between the enemy to not get hit by them. Cause I have Herta. And I don't want to fucking waste time clearing the mobs because they're worth nothing. So I think you know, hey, Acheron's one-shot, one-kill technique, like, let's just make it accessible to everyone, right? Let's just make it, not everybody has Acheron, right? Not everybody has Acheron. I think if they allow me to have that, I think I would have been a little bit happier, right? I have no face out, I have no red bar, I have no nothing. My only way of walking is basically hitting the pigs, and I just dash for my dear life, praying that my Herta doesn't get fucking ambushed, right? So that's gonna be that. That is more personal. I would say that's a little bit more personal. It doesn't really include everyone, but that's just me personally speaking. I personally, I think I said this just now before, with Herta segment, I don't really like the way that Herta was introduced in 3.0 because she really felt like a afterthought. Her first appearance was like the last 30 minutes. She appeared and then she's gone. She dipped. There was no introduction. There was no nothing. No mentioning of a name. I feel like Black Swan was fair because she was technically like the bridge. She was technically the bridge from like the end of Penacony towards this place. So I think Black Swan was pretty fair, right? She's gonna lead us to Amphoreus. But I feel like Herta was really, really out of place for me, personally. And, you know, tinfoil hat theory, I think her existence might be because it's her banner. So there has to be a way to just justify the fact that Herta appeared in the story. But aside from that, I just couldn't see a reason why they, you know, just pushed her to like another patch. Or just change the schedule a little bit. Because I think the way they did it with, for example, right, if I wanted to make a comparison, yeah, okay, I think the appearance of Black Swan and Sparkle, it didn't feel like an afterthought because they were dropped here and there and their relevance to the story was quite, not as much as like the main Penacony people, but they were kind of like hinted here and there. I'm not saying that full on just make the focus on them, but it felt more natural. Whereas Herta, it felt like 3.0 was starting 3.1, but it's like a completely different arc. Because the Herta arc was tied to Gnaeus, right? The droid head, her clones, capturing the Mimo Keeper, a potential war with Black Swan. And all these, I feel like there was almost like no relation with Amphoreus, except for the small connection that Black Swan might be red. That was pretty much it. That was pretty much it. So me personally, I think that Herta could have been better executed. I feel like if they want to put it here, sure, but maybe drop like her mention at the start of the story or in the middle of the story or like something aside from like the last 30 minutes. Aside from the last 30 minutes, right? So, okay, boss HP not great if you have cool moves. I feel like this boss HP thing is a bit of like a gray area because last time they made a Venturine boss fight that difficult, they had to nerf it because casuals were like dying on TikTok like, oh my god, my team can't clear this. Nerf this, miHoYo. And like, they had to actually dial it back. So I feel like it's a little bit hard to justify, like draw the line. Even though they introduced casual mode, so technically we're playing normal mode. It wasn't even casual mode. I think it's a little bit hard. I think it's a little bit hard to justify. Oh! Yes! Okay, I will say this one last thing. And I guess it kind of, you know what, we're just lumping everything together. The last portion of the fight, where it is with Herta, she was going around the different worlds. And she was like getting her clones. Why didn't we get a fight with like baby Herta? Because it was legit like they showed baby Herta's animation, they showed baby Herta's model, and then when you enter into the fight, it just splits into like 5 random mobs. I think that's like why, dude? I think it would have been super cool if, because we literally see in Herta's trailer that she got ganged up by like 1,000 baby Hertas. And I think it would have been such a insanely cool moment that we actually fight like 5 baby Hertas. And it just keeps twirling. And it would have been so funny. But then they just like, you know what, fuck it. And then just randomly instead of 5 mobs. It's not that big of a deal in the story, but it did leave a pretty bad taste. Especially since that was like towards the end. And I just came off from a very good high, which is the ending of Amphoreus. I think the way that Amphoreus ended, when Phainon goes to do his trial and then we're gonna leave, I think that was really good. But everything about Herta's art is like, oh my god, like why, dude? Why? So I think they could have just made it into 5 baby Herta. It's not like the first time we fight against a enemy ally. What I mean by enemy ally is like we fought Argentine, we fought Yanqing, we fought Bronya, we fought Kafka. So it's not a very fresh concept that we fight a 5-star enemy that could be a unit that we own. So yeah, I think most of my cons there are just mainly pertaining towards the Herta arc. And then the biggest point I have with Amphoreus itself is the executions of some of the way they explain the lore. Namely from the number of black screens, and I guess if you want to talk about camera angles, sure. I don't think I mentioned camera angles, right? So I think there was this one scene that can kind of illustrate the example. Phainon and Castorice just stood there for I think a good 5 minutes. Like it was the same exact spot for 5 minutes. I wouldn't say it is representative of the entire story because there were also moments in the story where they were bouncing back and forth, right? They were bouncing between Aglaea, they were bouncing between Tribbie, they were bouncing between Mydei. But like there were some moments in the story where like, it's legit just there, and then the model just does like. So yeah, but not for everything, but definitely we can improve on those, right? And the reason why I wouldn't even say this is nitpicky, but it is a 10-hour, sort of like a 10-hour long story. And if we're gonna cook up such a incredibly long-ass lore-heavy patch, I think if we can smooth out the experience of enjoying this story, I think it would have made the story a lot more enjoyable. So, what do I hope to see going forward? And then we'll give our overall review, right? What do I hope to see going forward? First of all, can we fucking get a new pet? I'm tired of man. I'm tired of the stupid task period just going around sleeping all over the place. Give me a new pet. He can actually breathe underwater. Right? You're fine, right? Oh shit, he's dead! Oh my god, he's actually dead! Okay, I don't care if it's a bug, I don't care if it's a fish, just give me a new pet, right? Yippee, right, Amphoreus. Give me a new goddamn pet, right? Hey, change Mimi to Mimi. Since Mimi is already with us, why not just let us change Meme? Alright? So I think having a new pet will be really good. I am really looking forward to how 3.1 turns out, especially for Tribbie, since Tribbie is the first unit that's coming out on 3.1, right? Tribbie's lore interests me the most because I feel like she's about to have one of the most sad, depressing moments. And I love this kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to the plot of 3.1. Hopefully, if we're gonna have long stories, it's fine. I'm all for long stories. It's all good, right? Especially if it's in a digestible amount where I don't feel like, oh my god, I need to do the fucking story again and again and again. I think it's fine. But to increase the overall viewing experience with, you know, Ryuku Sensei said it best, right? Storytelling, more cutscenes. Like if Zenless Zone Zero is gonna give me this amount of cutscene in a 1.5 hour story quest, I don't know what the fuck Honky Starbucks can't give it to me, you know? Respectfully speaking. So hopefully a little bit more in that department. I wouldn't mind if they gave us more poses for the model, not gonna lie. I think we basically see the normal model, the angry face model, the hands up model, and I think that's pretty much it. So I wouldn't mind seeing more models, right? Just to make this a little bit more engaging to the audience, right? For me, I don't really think it's like a make it or break it for me because I'm still gonna be more concerned with the story. I think for me, story is the most important part, especially when it comes to trying to enjoy the content. But of course, all of these will be very good to have. And then one last thing is, can we play with like Phainon and Mydei as trial characters? I think that would be all like Castorice as trial characters. Because we got to play with Aglaea and we got to play with the Herta, which are technically like the two rate up units. So I feel like getting them to play and try would be pretty nice. And they have teased Castorice and okay, maybe next match is gonna be Tribbie and Mydei, but they teased Castorice for a long ass time and teased Phainon for a long ass time, right? And hopefully I kind of want to see more death, more war, more grit, more real shit. And none of those like, oh shit, with the power of magic, we rewind time, by the power of the Titan's powers, everybody's fine. No, fuck that. Just die. Just die. Explode Okuma. Okay, maybe not, but like, you know, kill like a random ass town, right? Destroy. Die. The devastation. It will make everything feel more impactful. And I feel like that would be better. For me, if you guys don't like it, that's completely fine, but that is what I prefer personally. So, with all that being said and established, my overall rating for Honkai Star Rail 3.0, I think it's overhated. I don't think it's like the worst patch ever. Truly, I really don't think it's the worst patch ever. I think to this date, 2.6. The 2.6 patch was like, oh my fucking god, bro. Like, there's just no way. Like, the plot was meaningless. The storytelling was meaningless. We got a couple of cool cutscenes, that's it. But it was almost meaningless. It is what it is, right? My overall rating for Honkai Starbucks 3.0, I would give it a very, very solid 8.35. 8.35, 8.4. I'll give it 8.4 with all things considered. If we can clean up all that, I think this would be the best patch upcoming for the next 1 year in Honkai Starbucks. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. Because I hope that by the end of 3.0, or at version 3, it will give me my first ever 9.9 out of 10. I think I gave Penacony a, 9? I can't really remember, but I gave Penacony a pretty fucking high score. So hopefully by the end of everything, I can give this my first 9.9. Yep, that's pretty much it. Alright, I think for now, it's gonna stick with this until we can trim out this stuff. It's just that for me, the importance of all these things, like storytelling, the camera skins, I don't really mind it that much. But I know it's absolutely true that some people mind it a lot. Right? Some people have ADHD, some people play the story in... Oh my god, I cannot imagine if I play this story for 10 hours straight. I think this would be like a 6. It'll be way too much. But the thing is, because I pace myself, I'm chilling, and I don't really mind all this kind of stuff because I'm kind of just yapping my chat. It didn't affect me personally, right? It didn't really affect me that much. So I would still give it like an 8.4 because all things considered, the story is goddamn fantastic. Yep, with that, we come to the end of 3.0 is overhated. War. Join Twitch, join YouTube, join Discord, join Twitter. All the best. Welcome to Boost. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Oh, word of the day, Deikai.